What is up, everybody, and welcome to, I actually don't really know what to call this mod. I guess we'll call it Ghosus Weapon Pack. Basically, this is a mod that was available for Skyrim, like the old RIM version of Skyrim, and then the mod author did kind of change his post and edit it and said he's quitting modding. You could use the resources to do whatever you want, and as a result, a few people have ported it over to Skyrim Special Edition. So on the PC version, there's actually two different versions here. There's Ghosus Weapon Pack, and that is kind of the original name of the mod, and that's going to be available for Xbox One and PC, both of them on Bethesda.net. There's another version that's going to be available on the Nexus called More Weapons Please, which seems like a mod author just kind of took it, ported it, and renamed it, although he is still crediting the original mod author Ghosu. Regardless, it's a pretty cool and interesting weapon pack, as you can probably see, and actually a little bit different than some of the other weapon packs I've gone over in the past. So how does Ghosu's weapon pack differ from some other weapon packs, like the Lord of the Rings weapons, etc., etc.? Well, a lot of the other weapon packs I've covered, at least for Skyrim, have basically added in a singular weapon, take it an axe or a shield, and then a bunch of different variants of said weapon. So it would be like a Daedric variant, an iron variant, a stone variant, a steel variant, etc., etc. This actually doesn't do that. It more or less adds in all these kind of just standalone unique weapons that actually have their own names. Like one of them is called something the Wasp, and another one has like Seldith. They're all kind of hard to pronounce, but regardless, each and every weapon in this pack, or at least most of the weapons in this pack, are very unique. There's only one variant of them, and all around it's pretty cool. It's different than some of the other ones, and this is actually implemented into the leveled list, even though it almost feels like all these weapons are unique, like in the same sense that you have unique weapons in Skyrim. So here, first and foremost, let's start off with the shield added in by this mod. The shield's name is Aegis of the Champions, and it basically is just your normal old shield, although again, that's what I was kind of meaning, or what I meant as I was talking about all those other weapons. This has just kind of a crazy name like that. Pretty cool name nonetheless, but a little bit different. It's not just called like Steel Shield or anything like that. Then I am also using a weapon here. We are using the Falchion, and as you can see, this is actually a weapon that's appeared in a lot of kind of culture or pop media and stuff like that. Probably something you're pretty familiar with seeing. I think it's a pretty cool weapon. I actually really like the look of it. As you can see in its little thing there, the sheath on a lot of these weapons are actually very cool and very interesting. So let's actually move on to another weapon. So here we're actually going to have Kanda. Not really sure how you would pronounce that, but regardless, as you can see, this is another super interesting sword, and it's very different than some of the other swords in the game, and it just kind of has these like unique and crazy engravings. Again, if I do sheath it there, you could see it does have a really cool sheath as well. And then let's actually take a look at a third one. We do have the Pirate Saber. So as you can see here, we just kind of have a curved Pirate Saber. This one I actually really like. It's pretty boring, not as crazy or as unique as some of the other ones, but it's just kind of cool to have a Pirate Saber in Skyrim. And yeah, but that's hopefully you kind of got what I meant by that, with some of these being like their own standalone weapons, unique weapons. I'm not really sure how to phrase that, but basically like, all right, so for example, this is a Falchion, and you can only get this version of this weapon. You'll find it on some enemies and stuff like that. And speaking of enemies, let's kill some people with it. So I did place down some bandit chiefs, and they are absolutely destroying my companion. But actually, never mind. Maybe. Oh wait, no, that's my companion. I think they're actually using a mix. They're using some of the weapons I did cover in Skyrim Weapons Expanded, which I actually made a video on yesterday. Now here we do have, what is this? Kanda. I really don't know how to pronounce that. And it's not like this is an easily Googleable word. So we can finish some of these guys off. As you can see, the weapons are pretty strong. They're not overpowered by any means, but oh, he just got shot down by one of the bow users there. But yeah, as you can see, pretty cool. Some of these enemies will actually spawn with some of these weapons. I think one of them did have one of the axes from the mod, and he's going to float away. So although a lot of these are actually, again, going to be totally standalone and unique, there's actually one set that kind of has, a set of 3 different weapons. And actually, I do want to kind of mention some of them, although they are kind of standalone, will have like one-handed and two-handed versions. So this is not a great example, but I'll show you that a little bit later. Regardless, here we actually do have 3 different death categorized weapons. So we have the Death Sword, the Death Dagger, the Death Sword, and the Death Claymore. So I'm using that mod that allows you to show all the weapons you have favorited. That's why you can see all 3 on my back. But regardless, these things look very cool. As you can see, it has the sheaths for all these look very cool. And then the actual like weapons themselves, if I could actually equip it, also look very cool. So as you can see, we have the death dagger right here. Pretty simple, going to be, you know, your kind of normal dagger, just going to look like this, have all these cool engravings on it. That's when we have the death sword right there. And then if we go into third person, we could switch over to the death claymore, which as you can see, it's more or less, they're just kind of shrunk down or sized up versions of each other, which is definitely not a bad thing. All these look very badass, and they definitely look like pretty evil weapons. If I attack her, oh, I thought she just died. But yeah, all around, I just wanted to show you that. That's one of the few examples of this mod where it's kind of reusing the same concept, which, I don't know. I like the look of all three of these, especially when you have all three like this on your back. That is pretty badass. If you had a more demonic armor than my dragon armor, I think it would look even cooler. So here's another example of kind of two weapons that are in the same category, or really just the same weapon, but one is, I think it's slightly bigger, but regardless, we have Sedethal, I think I'm pronouncing that right, here. So we do have the sword version, as you can see, pretty cool looking sword. This one actually looks almost a little bit more heroic, although it kind of looks black and dark also. And we do have the great sword version, or rather just the two-handed version of them. Some of them are totally renamed, like the one prior was a claymore. This one is just a two-handed version. So here we have a few other weapons, and actually this is going to be a good time to kind of mention where some of these weapons come from. So basically what this mod author did with a ton of these different weapons, this is going to be the stone wasp dagger here, but what he did with a lot of these weapons is actually take them from other kind of forms of kind of pop media culture. I'm not really sure what you want to call that. For example, this is the Oath sword, and or Oath Keeper sword, great sword. And basically, this is going to be from Game of Thrones. And a lot of these other ones are from, I believe, Lord of the Rings. One of them, they're from a few different anime series. Obviously, I can't go through and learn all of them. That would be kind of ridiculous. I think this mod adds in 20-some weapons. But as you can see, we have the little guy on the top right there. And yeah, so as you can see, a lot of these may look familiar to you. And well, that's the reason they'll look so familiar. So again, we do have a few different ones here. So we have the Oath Keeper, as you can see, right here. Then we do have the stone wasp. This is going to be this little dagger, and actually is a very, very cool and interesting looking dagger. Then we do have the golden army sword. So as you can see, this one, I believe this one's from Lord of the Rings, and I've never actually seen Lord of the Rings, so I don't know, but I'm pretty sure. I know I'm going to get shit in the comments, but that's okay. And then last but not least, we have Toriel's sword, which is this from Lord of the Rings too? Again, never seen the series, but all of these are looking very cool. And again, these are going to spawn on some of their level lists, which is a little bit weird because of how unique they look. I did spawn down some more enemies, so let's go take them on and try and help our companion out because she is going to get destroyed very quickly. Let's take out Oath Keeper here, and oh god, I was falling in the river there, so we gotta be a little bit careful. And I think this is actually one of the highest damage weapons out of this whole pack, which is kind of cool. I am using, am I using Vigor? I forget. I'm using one of the combat overhauls, so I could do injuries to a lot of these guys. So let's take out this little dagger here and try and stab them down really quickly. I'm not getting too many hits on. So we'll take out this one. This is the Sword of the Golden Army. This one is actually one of my favorites. I think this one just looks very cool. Okay, so he's going to just die there. And we could stab him with the Sword of the Golden Army and finish him off. But yeah, all around basically just a very cool mod. It adds in, again, a lot of these really, really unique and interesting weapons. Definitely more interesting than some of the other weapon mods, although a lot of the other weapon mods are good to just kind of augment the existing weapons in the game. This one's definitely going to spice things up a little bit. It's going to add in a bunch of new weapons that you may have heard of before from other series, but stuff that isn't necessarily as fitting in Skyrim, although it's not out of place either. You probably will realize when you find one of these weapons, oh hey, I'm using a weapon mod, which is definitely something I personally like that, and I'm sure a lot of you guys will as well. So let's finish off these bandits, and let me know in the comments down below, out of the weapons I showed you, which of these was actually your favorite, just out of curiosity. All around, a very cool mod, a very interesting mod, and yeah, it's going to be pretty much wrap it up for this video, guys. I do hope you enjoyed, and I hope to see you all next time. Later.